Have you ever felt like something big is changing inside you, but you can't quite put your finger on it? It's as if you're seeing the world through new eyes, and suddenly, everything feels different. If you've been experiencing strange feelings or noticing unusual patterns in your life lately, you might be going through a spiritual awakening. This incredible journey of self-discovery can be both exciting and confusing, but don't worry, you're not alone. Millions of people around the world are waking up to a new reality, and today we're going to explore the signs that show you might be one of them. Think of a spiritual awakening like a flower blooming. At first, it's just a tiny bud, closed tight and hidden. But as time passes, it slowly opens up, revealing its true beauty to the world. That's what's happening inside you right now. Your inner self is starting to unfold, showing you parts of yourself and the world that you've never seen before. It's a natural process, but it can feel pretty strange if you don't know what's going on. So, what exactly is a spiritual awakening? Well, it's not about joining a religion or believing in something specific. It's more like waking up from a long sleep and realizing there's so much more to life than you ever knew. Imagine you've been living in a small room your whole life, and suddenly someone opens a door, showing you a vast, beautiful world outside. That's what a spiritual awakening feels like. It's about seeing beyond the everyday stuff and connecting with something bigger than yourself. During a spiritual awakening, you might start questioning things you've always taken for granted. The way you see yourself, other people, and the world around you begins to change. It's like putting on a pair of glasses for the first time and realizing everything was a little blurry before. Now you're seeing things more clearly, and it can be pretty amazing and sometimes a bit overwhelming. This awakening doesn't happen all at once. It's more like a gradual unfolding, a journey that can take months or even years. Along the way, you'll notice different signs that show you're on this path. These signs are like signposts, guiding you and letting you know you're heading in the right direction. They're not always obvious, and sometimes they might even seem a bit weird or scary. But don't worry, that's all part of the process. The good news is, you don't need any special skills or knowledge to go through a spiritual awakening. It's a natural part of growing as a person. Just like how a tree grows taller and stronger over time, your job is simply to pay attention to what's happening inside you and around you. By recognizing the signs of spiritual awakening, you can better understand what you're going through and make the most of this incredible journey. Now let's talk about how you can tell if you're going through a spiritual awakening. There are lots of different signs, and you might experience some of them but not others. That's totally normal. Everyone's journey is unique. Think of these signs as clues in a treasure hunt. The more you notice, the closer you are to uncovering the amazing treasure of your true self. As we go through these signs, try to keep an open mind. Some of them might sound familiar to you, while others might seem strange. That's okay. The important thing is to be honest with yourself about what you're experiencing. There's no right or wrong way to go through a spiritual awakening. Your path is yours alone, and it's perfect just the way it is. Remember, these signs aren't like a checklist where you need to tick off every box. They're more like different flowers in a garden. Some might bloom in your life, while others might not appear at all. The key is to be aware of them and to pay attention to how you're feeling and changing over time. As we explore these signs together, take some time to reflect on your own experiences. Have you noticed any of these things happening in your life? Don't worry if you're not sure. Sometimes these changes can be subtle, and it might take a while to recognize them. The more you learn about the signs of spiritual awakening, the easier it will be to spot them in your own life. One of the first and most noticeable signs of a spiritual awakening is a big change in how you see the world. It's like someone has turned up the brightness and sharpness on your life's TV screen. Colors might seem more vivid, and you might start noticing little details you've never paid attention to before. The trees, the sky, even the faces of people around you, everything starts to look a bit different, often more beautiful and interesting. But it's not just about what you see with your eyes. This shift in perception goes deeper. You might start questioning things you've always believed or taken for granted. The way society works, your job, your relationships. Suddenly, you're looking at all of these things with fresh eyes. It's like you're seeing the world without all the filters and assumptions you've built up over the years. This new way of seeing things can be really exciting. You might feel a sense of wonder, like when you were a kid, discovering the world for the first time. Simple things like a sunset or a kind gesture from a stranger might fill you with joy and appreciation. It's like you're rediscovering the magic in everyday life. At the same time, this shift can also be a bit unsettling. You might start to notice things that bother you, things you never paid much attention to before. Maybe you become more aware of how people treat each other, or you start to see the impact humans are having on the environment. This increased awareness can sometimes make you feel sad or frustrated, but it's all part of the awakening process. You might also find that your priorities start to change. Things that used to seem super important, like having the latest gadget or impressing others, might not matter so much anymore. Instead, you might find yourself drawn to simpler pleasures like spending time in nature or having deep conversations with friends. This shift in perception often comes with a feeling of being more present in the moment. Instead of always thinking about the past or worrying about the future, you might find yourself really tuning into what's happening right now. It's like you're fully awake and alive for the first time, really experiencing life instead of just going through the motions. As your perception shifts, you might also start to see connections between things that you never noticed before. It's like you're seeing the hidden threads that tie everything together. This can lead to some pretty amazing insights and aha moments. You might suddenly understand why certain things happen in your life, or you might see how different parts of the world are all connected. Remember, this change in how you see things doesn't happen overnight. It's more like a gradual clearing of fog from a window. Day by day, you start to see more clearly, and the world reveals itself to you in new and exciting ways. Don't be surprised if you have moments of clarity followed by times when everything seems confusing again. That's all part of the process. The key is to stay open and curious. Pay attention to how your view of the world is changing. Notice the little things that catch your eye or the new thoughts that pop into your head. Keep a journal if it helps. Writing down your observations can be a great way to track your journey and see how your perception is evolving over time. This shift in perception is just the beginning of your spiritual awakening. It's like the universe is inviting you to see beyond the surface and discover the deeper truths of life. As you continue on this path, you'll find that this new way of seeing opens up a whole world of possibilities and experiences you never knew existed. As your spiritual awakening continues, you might start to notice that you're becoming more intuitive. It's like you've got a built-in compass that's suddenly working better than ever before. You might find yourself just knowing things without really understanding how you know them. It's not about being psychic or having special powers. It's more like you're tapping into a deeper wisdom that's always been inside you. This increased intuition can show up in different ways. Maybe you get a strong feeling about a decision you need to make, even if it doesn't make logical sense. Or you might have a hunch about a person you've just met, which later turns out to be spot on. It's like your gut feelings are speaking louder and clearer than before. Along with this sharper intuition, you might start noticing more synchronicities in your life. Synchronicities are those amazing coincidences that seem too perfect to be just chance, like thinking about an old friend and then bumping into them later that day, or hearing a song on the radio that perfectly matches what you were just thinking about. These synchronicities can feel pretty magical, like the universe is sending you little signs or messages. It's not about everything suddenly going perfectly in your life, it's more like you're noticing the flow of life more clearly. You might start to feel like you're in the right place at the right time more often, or that things are working out in unexpected but wonderful ways. As your intuition grows stronger, you might find yourself trusting your inner voice more. Instead of always looking outside yourself for answers or approval, you start to listen to that quiet wisdom inside. This can be really empowering, but it can also be a bit scary at first. You might worry about making mistakes or not having proof for your decisions. But as you practice following your intuition, you'll likely find that it leads you to some pretty amazing places. This growth in intuition and awareness of synchronicities can change how you make decisions. Instead of just relying on logic and pros and cons lists, you might start to factor in your gut feelings and those meaningful coincidences. It's like you're using a whole new set of tools to navigate your life. You might also find that you're becoming more sensitive to the energies around you. This doesn't mean you're suddenly able to see auras or anything like that, though some people do experience that. It's more like you're picking up on the vibes of people and places more easily. You might walk into a room and immediately sense the mood, or you might feel drawn to certain people or situations without really knowing why. This increased sensitivity can be both a blessing and a challenge. On one hand, it can help you connect more deeply with others and make better choices about where to spend your time and energy. On the other hand, it might mean you need to be more careful about protecting your own energy. You might find you need more alone time to recharge, or that certain environments or people drain you more than they used to. As you experience more intuitive insights and synchronicities, you might start to feel a deeper sense of trust in life. It's like you're beginning to see that there's a bigger picture, a greater plan at work. This doesn't mean everything will always be easy or go your way, but you might find yourself worrying less about the future and trusting that things will unfold as they should. This growing trust can bring a sense of peace and flow to your life. Instead of always trying to force things to happen, you might find yourself more willing to go with the flow. You start to see that when you trust your intuition and pay attention to the signs around you, life has a way of guiding you to where you need to be. Remember, developing your intuition is like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Don't be afraid to trust those gut feelings or to follow up on those seemingly random coincidences. Keep an open mind and heart, and you might be amazed at where your intuition leads you. As your intuition grows and you notice more synchronicities, you're likely to feel more connected to the world around you. It's like you're tuning into a frequency you couldn't hear before. This connection can bring a deep sense of belonging and purpose to your life, guiding you further along your spiritual awakening journey. As your spiritual awakening deepens, you might find yourself with a growing hunger for authenticity and truth. It's like you've been asleep in a world of masks and pretenses, and now you're waking up, wanting to see things as they really are. This desire for authenticity doesn't just apply to the world around you, it starts with you. You might start feeling a strong urge to be more genuine in your daily life. The idea of putting on a fake smile or pretending to be someone you're not starts to feel uncomfortable, even impossible. It's like you're shedding old layers of yourself, peeling away the parts that were more about fitting in or pleasing others than being true to who you really are. This drive for authenticity can show up in different ways. Maybe you start speaking your mind more, even when your opinion isn't popular. Or you might find yourself drawn to hobbies or interests that you've always been curious about but never pursued because you were worried about what others might think. It's like you're giving yourself permission to be fully, unapologetically you. Along with this desire to be more authentic comes a thirst for truth. You might find yourself questioning things you've always accepted as fact. This could be big stuff like your beliefs about life and the world, or smaller things like why you do certain things the way you do. It's like you're on a mission to uncover the real truth behind everything. This quest for truth can lead you to explore new ideas and perspectives. You might start reading books on topics you never cared about before, or watching documentaries that challenge your views. You're not necessarily looking to change your beliefs, but you want to understand things more deeply. It's like you're not satisfied with surface-level explanations anymore. You want to dig deeper and find the core truths. As you seek more authenticity and truth in your life, you might find that some of your relationships start to change. People who are also on a path of growth and self-discovery might become closer to you. At the same time, you might find yourself drifting apart from friends or family members who aren't interested in looking deeper into life. This can be a bit sad, but it's a natural part of growing and changing. You might also start to feel a stronger connection to nature and the world around you. There's something about nature that feels inherently true and authentic, and you might find yourself craving more time outdoors. Whether it's taking walks in the park, gardening, or just sitting under a tree, being in nature can feel like a way to connect with a deeper truth about life. This desire for authenticity and truth can also change how you see your purpose in life. You might start questioning your career path or long-term goals. Are they really aligned with who you are and what you value? This can be a bit scary, especially if you've invested a lot of time and energy into a particular path. But it's also exciting. It's like you're giving yourself the chance to create a life that truly reflects your authentic self. As you become more authentic, you might notice that you're less concerned with what others think of you. This doesn't mean you stop caring about people or become selfish. It's more like you're letting go of the need for constant approval. You start to realize that being true to yourself is more important than trying to please everyone else. This journey towards authenticity and truth isn't always easy. There might be times when you feel confused or unsure. You might uncover truths about yourself or the world that are uncomfortable or challenging. But even when it's difficult, there's usually a sense that you're on the right path. It's like you're finally being honest with yourself, and that honesty brings a deep sense of relief and freedom. Remember, this desire for authenticity and truth is a key part of your spiritual awakening. It's like you're clearing away the fog and seeing things more clearly. As you continue on this path, you'll likely find that being authentic becomes more and more natural. You'll start to recognize your own truth more easily, and you'll feel more confident in expressing it. This journey towards authenticity and truth is ongoing. It's not about reaching a final destination where you have all the answers. Instead, it's about embracing the process of continual growth and discovery. As you become more authentic and seek deeper truths, you're likely to find that your life becomes richer and more meaningful. You're not just going through the motions anymore. You're fully engaged in the adventure of being alive. As your spiritual awakening continues, you might notice a big change in how you relate to others. It's like someone turned up the volume on your feelings, especially when it comes to understanding and caring about other people. This is what we call heightened empathy and compassion, and it's a beautiful part of the awakening process. Empathy is like being able to step into someone else's shoes and really feel what they're feeling. You might find that You're suddenly much more aware of the emotions of people around you. It's not just about seeing that someone is sad or happy, it's like you can actually feel a little bit of what they're going through. This can happen with people you know well, but also with strangers you see on the street or even characters in movies or books. This increased empathy can be pretty intense at first. You might find yourself tearing up more easily when you hear about someone's struggles, or feeling really happy when good things happen to others. It's like your heart has opened up wider, and you're more connected to the experiences of people around you. Along with this empathy comes a growing sense of compassion. Compassion is like empathy's big sister. It's not just feeling what others feel, but also wanting to help and make things better. You might find yourself more willing to lend a hand to someone in need, or speaking up for people who can't speak for themselves. It's like you're seeing the world through kinder eyes, and you want to spread that kindness around. This increase in empathy and compassion can change how you interact with people in your daily life. You might become a better listener, really tuning in to what others are saying and not saying. You might find yourself being more patient with people, understanding that everyone is fighting their own battles that you might not know about. But it's not just about other people. This heightened empathy and compassion often extends to yourself too. You might start to be kinder to yourself, more understanding of your own struggles and mistakes. It's like you're seeing yourself through the same compassionate lens that you're using to look at others. This growth in empathy and compassion can also lead to a stronger sense of connection with all living things. You might start feeling more concerned about animals and the environment. Some people find that they can't bear the thought of harming any living creature and decide to become vegetarian or vegan. Others might start getting involved in environmental causes or animal welfare projects. While this increase in empathy and compassion is beautiful, it can also be challenging at times. You might find that you're more affected by the news or by sad stories you hear. It can feel overwhelming to suddenly be so aware of all the pain and suffering in the world. That's why it's important to learn how to balance this new sensitivity with self-care and boundaries. Remember, being more empathetic and compassionate doesn't mean you have to solve everyone's problems or take on the world's pain. It's about being more open, more understanding, and doing what you can to make a positive difference. Even small acts of kindness can ripple out and have a big impact. As your empathy and compassion grow, you might find that your relationships become deeper and more meaningful. You're able to connect with people on a more authentic level, really seeing and appreciating them for who they are. This can lead to some beautiful friendships and connections that you might never have experienced before. This increase in empathy and compassion is like a gift that your spiritual awakening is giving you. It's opening your heart to the world in a new way, allowing you to experience life with more richness and depth. As you continue on your journey, you'll likely find that this compassion becomes a guiding force in your life, shaping your choices and actions in beautiful ways. As your spiritual awakening deepens, you might start to experience a profound shift in how you see yourself in relation to the world around you. It's like the boundaries between you and everything else start to blur, and you begin to feel a deep sense of oneness with all that exists. This feeling of interconnectedness is a big sign that your spiritual awakening is progressing. At first, this sense of oneness might come in brief moments. Maybe you're walking in nature and suddenly you feel like you're not separate from the trees and the sky, but part of it all. Or you might be in a crowd and suddenly feel connected to all the people around you, like you're all part of one big family. These moments can feel pretty amazing, like you're tapping into something much bigger than yourself. As this feeling grows, you might start to see the world in a different way. Instead of seeing everything as separate and disconnected, you begin to notice the links between all things. It's like you're seeing the invisible threads that connect people, events, and even ideas. You might start to understand that what happens on one side of the world affects people on the other side, or that our actions today shape the world of tomorrow. This sense of interconnectedness often comes with a feeling of unity with all of life. You might find yourself feeling more connected to nature, seeing the earth as a living, breathing organism that we're all part of. This can lead to a deeper respect for the environment and a desire to live in a way that's more in harmony with nature. You might also start to see how all human beings are connected regardless of our differences. The lines that separate us, like race, nationality, or religion, might start to seem less important. Instead, you begin to focus on what we all have in common as human beings. This can lead to a more inclusive and accepting way of looking at the world and the people in it. This feeling of oneness can also extend to your understanding of time. You might start to see how the past, present, and future are all connected. Your actions today are shaped by your past experiences, and they in turn shape your future. This perspective can bring a sense of continuity to your life, helping you see how all your experiences are part of one big journey. As you experience this sense of oneness, you might find that your fears start to diminish. When you feel connected to everything, the idea of being alone or separate loses its power. You start to understand that you're part of something much bigger than yourself, and this can bring a deep sense of comfort and security. This feeling of interconnectedness can also change how you think about death. While the idea of dying might still be scary, you might start to see it as more of a transition than an ending. It's like you understand that your energy is part of the bigger energy of the universe and that never really goes away. As this sense of oneness grows, you might find yourself naturally wanting to be of service to others and to the world. It's not about sacrificing yourself or ignoring your own needs. It's more like you understand that helping others is the same as helping yourself because we're all connected. This can lead to a more generous and altruistic way of living. Remember, this sense of oneness and interconnectedness isn't something you need to force or try to make happen. It's a natural part of the spiritual awakening process. As you continue on your journey, you'll likely find that this feeling grows and deepens on its own. This shift in perspective, from seeing yourself as separate to understanding your connection with all things, is a beautiful and profound part of spiritual awakening. It can bring a deep sense of peace and purpose to your life. As you embrace this interconnectedness, you might find that you're able to move through the world with more grace, compassion, and joy. As you go through these signs of spiritual awakening, you might experience a whole range of emotions and sensations. It's important to remember that everyone's journey is unique, and there's no right or wrong way to feel. Let's talk about some of the common experiences people have during this process. First off, it's totally normal to feel a mix of excitement and confusion. On one hand, you might feel like you're waking up to a whole new world, full of wonder and possibilities. You might have moments of intense joy or peace, where everything just seems to make sense. These moments can feel amazing, like you're finally seeing the world as it really is. But on the flip side, all these changes can also feel pretty overwhelming at times. You might find yourself questioning everything you thought you knew, which can be unsettling. It's like the ground you've been standing on all your life is suddenly shifting, and you're not quite sure where you'll end up. This can bring up feelings of anxiety or uncertainty. You might also experience what some people call the dark night of the soul. This is a period where you feel lost, confused, or even depressed. It's like you're stuck between your old way of being and your new awakening self, and you're not sure how to move forward. This can be a tough time, but remember, it's a normal part of the process. It's like you're shedding your old skin, and that can be uncomfortable. Physically, you might notice some changes too. Some people report feeling more energy or needing less sleep. Others might feel tired more often as their body adjusts to the new energies. You might experience tingling sensations, especially in your hands or the top of your head. Some people even report feeling heat or energy moving through their body. Emotionally, you might find that you're more sensitive than before. You could have mood swings, crying one moment and laughing the next. This is because you're processing a lot of new information and energy. It's like your emotional system is getting an upgrade, and it takes some time to calibrate. You might also start having vivid dreams or experiencing synchronicities, those amazing coincidences we talked about earlier. More often, this can make you feel like you're living in a kind of magical reality where everything seems meaningful and connected. Another common feeling during spiritual awakening is a sense of loneliness or isolation. As you start to see the world differently, you might feel like you can't relate to others the same way you used to. You might find that your interests are changing and you don't enjoy the same things you once did. This can make you feel like you don't fit in anymore. But here's the thing, even if you feel alone, you're not. Lots of people are going through this awakening process. You might not know them yet, but there are others out there who understand exactly what you're experiencing. It's also common to feel a bit impatient during this process. Once you start awakening, you might want to rush forward and figure everything out right away. But spiritual awakening is a journey, not a destination. It's important to be patient with yourself and trust the process. You might also experience moments of doubt. You might wonder if you're just imagining all these changes or if you're going a bit crazy. This is totally normal. Our logical minds often try to make sense of spiritual experiences, and sometimes they just can't. It's okay to have doubts. They're part of the journey too. Remember, all of these feelings, the good ones and the challenging ones, are normal parts of the awakening process. They're signs that you're growing and changing in profound ways. It's like you're going through a kind of spiritual puberty. It can be awkward and uncomfortable at times, but it's leading you to a more mature and aware state of being. The key is to be gentle with yourself as you go through these changes. Don't judge yourself for how you're feeling. Instead, try to observe your emotions with curiosity and compassion. This is all new territory, and it's okay to take your time as you navigate it. Also, remember that it's okay to seek support. Talking to others who are on a similar journey can be really helpful. You might want to join a spiritual group, read books about awakening, or even work with a spiritual coach or counselor. Having support can make the journey feel less lonely and help you make sense of what you're experiencing. Ultimately, while the awakening process can bring up all sorts of feelings, many people find that it leads to a deeper sense of peace, purpose, and connection. As you move through these signs and sensations, trust that you're on a beautiful journey of growth and self-discovery. Now that you're aware of these signs of spiritual awakening, you might be wondering, what should I do next? Don't worry, this is a common question, and there are lots of simple ways to support your journey. Remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach, so feel free to explore and find what works best for you. First off, one of the best things you can do is to start a regular practice of self-reflection. This could be through meditation, journaling, or just taking quiet time to sit with your thoughts. Meditation doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as sitting quietly for a few minutes each day and focusing on your breath. This helps you tune into your inner world and process all the changes you're experiencing. Journaling is another great tool. Writing down your thoughts, feelings, and experiences can help you make sense of your journey. It's also a great way to track your progress and see how far you've come. You might be surprised at the insights you gain when you put pen to paper. Spending time in nature is another powerful way to support your awakening. Nature has a way of grounding us and helping us feel connected to something bigger than ourselves. Try taking regular walks in a park, sitting by a body of water, or even just tending to some houseplants. Pay attention to how you feel when you're in nature. Many people find it brings a sense of peace and clarity. Reading books on spirituality and personal growth can also be really helpful. There's so much wisdom out there from people who have gone through similar experiences. Just remember to trust your own inner guidance too. Not everything you read will resonate with you, and that's okay. Practicing mindfulness in your daily life is another great step. This means trying to be fully present in whatever you're doing, whether it's eating a meal, washing dishes, or talking to a friend. When you're mindful, you're more aware of your thoughts and feelings, and you're better able to stay grounded in the present moment. Taking care of your physical health is also important during this time. Your body is going through a lot of changes, so make sure you're getting enough rest, eating nourishing foods, and staying hydrated. Regular exercise can also help. It's a great way to release any excess energy or emotions you might be experiencing. Consider exploring different spiritual practices or healing modalities. This could include yoga, tai chi, energy healing, or sound baths. These practices can help you connect with your body and energy in new ways. Just remember to approach any new practice with an open mind and listen to your own intuition about what feels right for you. Connecting with like-minded people can be incredibly supportive during this time. Look for local spiritual groups or online communities where you can share your experiences and learn from others. Having people who understand what you're going through can make a big difference. Remember to be patient and kind with yourself throughout this process. Spiritual awakening is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, and that's completely normal. Don't put pressure on yourself to have it all figured out, just take it one day at a time. It's also important to maintain a balance between your spiritual growth and your everyday life. While it's exciting to explore these new aspects of yourself, remember to stay grounded in your daily responsibilities too. Your awakening should enhance your life, not pull you away from it. If you're feeling overwhelmed, don't hesitate to seek professional help. There are therapists and counselors who specialize in spiritual issues and can provide valuable support and guidance. Sometimes, having an objective perspective can be really helpful as you navigate these changes. Lastly, trust your own intuition. As you go through this awakening, you'll likely find that your inner guidance becomes stronger. Learn to listen to and trust that inner voice. It's there to guide you on your unique path. Remember, your spiritual awakening is a personal journey. What works for someone else might not work for you, and that's perfectly okay. Feel free to explore different practices and ideas, but always come back to what feels true and right for you. This is your awakening, and you get to shape it in a way that feels authentic to you. As we come to the end of our exploration of spiritual awakening signs, let's take a moment to reflect on this amazing journey you're embarking on. Remember, spiritual awakening isn't about reaching a final destination. It's about embracing a new way of being in the world, one that's more aware, more connected, and more authentically you. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the initial shift in perception to the deep sense of oneness that can develop. We've talked about the growth of intuition, the hunger for authenticity, and the blossoming of empathy and compassion. These are all beautiful signs that you're waking up to a deeper reality. But here's the thing, your journey is unique. You might experience all of these signs, or just a few. You might go through them in a different order or experience them in ways we haven't even talked about. And that's perfectly okay. Your awakening is as individual as you are. As you continue on this path, remember to be patient and kind with yourself. There might be challenging moments, times when you feel confused or overwhelmed. But there will also be moments of incredible beauty and clarity, times when you feel more alive and connected than ever before. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What has your experience been like? Have you noticed any of these signs in your own life? Maybe you've had experiences we didn't cover here. Your insights and stories are valuable, not just for you, but for others who might be on a similar journey. So if you feel comfortable, share your experiences in the comments below. What signs of spiritual awakening have you noticed? What has been the most challenging part of your journey? What has been the most beautiful or surprising? And if you're just starting to explore the idea of spiritual awakening, what resonated with you in this video? Did anything surprise you or make you curious to learn more? Remember, by sharing our experiences, we create a community of support and understanding. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to feel less alone on their journey. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel. We'll be exploring more topics related to spiritual growth and personal development in future videos. By subscribing, you'll be sure not to miss out on these upcoming discussions. And if you know someone who might benefit from this information, why not share the video with them? Sometimes, just knowing that what we're experiencing is normal and shared by others can be incredibly comforting. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of spiritual awakening signs. Remember, you're on a beautiful journey of growth and self-discovery. Trust the process, be kind to yourself, and stay open to the wonder and magic that surrounds you every day. Until next time, may your awakening bring you joy, peace, and a deeper connection to yourself and the world around you. As we wrap up our journey through the signs of spiritual awakening, it's important to remember that this is just the beginning. Spiritual awakening is a lifelong process of growth, discovery, and transformation. It's a journey that can bring profound changes to your life, opening your eyes to new possibilities and deepening your connection to yourself, others, and the world around you. We've explored various signs of spiritual awakening, from shifts in perception and increased intuition to a growing sense of empathy and oneness with all things. These signs are like signposts on your path, guiding you towards a more authentic and awakened way of being. But remember, your journey is unique. You might experience some or all of these signs, and you might encounter others we haven't mentioned. Trust your own experience and inner wisdom as you navigate this path. It's natural to feel a mix of excitement and uncertainty as you go through this process. Spiritual awakening can bring up a wide range of emotions and experiences, some joyful and some challenging. Be patient and compassionate with yourself as you navigate these changes. Remember, it's okay to take your time, to have doubts, and to sometimes feel overwhelmed. These are all normal parts of the awakening process. As you continue on your journey, stay curious and open-minded. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep growing. Seek out resources and communities that resonate with you and support your growth. But also remember to trust your own inner guidance. You have a deep wisdom within you. Learning to listen to and trust that wisdom is a key part of the awakening process. Remember, spiritual awakening isn't about becoming a perfect person or achieving some idealized state of being. It's about becoming more fully yourself, more aware, more compassionate, and more connected to the world around you. It's about living with greater authenticity and purpose and experiencing life with more depth and richness. As you move forward on your path, carry with you the understanding that you are part of something greater. Your awakening isn't just for you, it ripples out into the world, affecting everyone and everything you interact with. By awakening to your true nature, you help to raise the consciousness of the entire planet. Thank you for embarking on this exploration of spiritual awakening signs. May your journey be filled with wonder, growth, and beautiful discoveries. Remember, you are not alone on this path. We are all in this together, each of us playing our part in the grand awakening of human consciousness. Keep shining your light and trust in the unfolding of your unique and beautiful journey.